Well, good morning everybody. My name is Dr. JD Swanson and welcome to 15 Minutes of Thought. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So today what we're going to be talking about is going to be the fourth in Kanazawa Sensei's genius Jiyu Ippon Kumite Jodan series. And so what I want to do is I'll quickly recap the first three and then we'll bounce into some gory details on the fourth one in our story. After that we'll focus on for the next class we'll focus on the fifth and then talk about some other pieces about the geniusness of how these sort of seemingly independent techniques tie together to really teach you how to make Jiyu Ippon Kumite, but also give you the steps into Jiyu Kumite. So with that, let's get started. Hey, us. Very good. So to warm up, what you want to do is go through the first three, the three that we've looked at so far. So they start from Kamae. If you cast your mind back, the very first one was simply rotating back 45 degrees, ate shito gyakuzuki back to Kamae. The second one, if you remember rightly, was cutting in on a 15-degree angle, making into a kosadachi-like stance, covering the gashike, driving in urazuki, check on the rear hip, make sure that's driving in. So it's stepping, driving in, one, once you're here pushing off, two. Number three is stepping out with the front leg to whichever angle you need to place depending on your opponent. Drive the leg across, make mawashigeri, agyuke at the same time, making it smooth and relaxed, then flipping in gyakuzuki chudan. So it's here, 1, 2, 3, 4, this kind of feeling. A couple of things to remember is make sure that you're not standing there like a big dope. After this, ha! Right, because the next thing is going ha out. You must move your body out. Remember that one of the things that's really important about all of these is the body movement, allowing your body to scoop in, scoop out, allowing your body to scoop in, scoop out, allowing your body to scoop in and scoop out to keep yourself safe. You don't want to stand there and start playing sort of back and forth pity-patty. You want to use your body and allow your body to smoothly move along those angles. And so with that, what I want you to do is go away, try those three, get warmed up, and then we'll move into the fourth one of the series. Give it a go. Excellent. Okay, so the fourth one is more absorption. What you're thinking about here is changing your stance. So if we imagine the opponent's coming in, they're attacking off their right side, which is here. They're coming in along this line towards my center. This is the way that this is set up. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that center line. So if I grab one of my handy dandy sticks and I place that down the center, this is the line of the attack. Stay, there we go. What I want to do is, rather than having it come straight towards my center, simply cut off on that angle so it would go straight past, like a big scary train. So allow that to happen. So what we're going to do is we simply take advantage of switching from a shoulder width or a hip width stance to shifting in line. So as you make that shift, allow yourself to go into kokutsudachi. Right? That's going to have two things. It's going to do two things for you. First, the aforementioned right blocking to the side, the shifting angle of my body to allow that technique to scoop past. That's number one. The second thing it's going to do is as the opponent comes in, it's going to shift my body backwards, my body center. If you imagine this is straight over, all I'm going to do is rock back like so. So allow that to occur. Allow that back feeling to happen. Don't just stand there and go this. Allow, pull, and absorb. And with that, what you want to do is just make soto uke. Again, just like we learned in the first technique, we don't need to make this big load. Simply just rotate and pull. Just here, rotate and pull as you go into that stance. So what I'd like you to try is just from here, just practice 1, pull, come back, 2, pull, 3, pull, 4, pull. This feeling. So give that a go and then come back to me. Excellent. So you've tried that simple pull. The next part is the technique that comes back out of this is switching from here, from Kokutsudachi, shifting the front foot, driving off the back, making Zenkutsu into Shomen. So allowing the smooth, beautiful pull, push, this kind of feeling. So what I want you to do is I want you to feel here, making kamae, 1, 2, feel that drive of the hip. Here, 1, 2, push. Don't worry about what your arms are doing, just get the leg movement happening and the body center movement happening first. So again, if you look, if I center my body over this line here, right, what I'm doing is I'm absorbing backwards and then I'm driving back in, hard and fast. So it's here, allow the foot to move and drive. Here, drive. Here, drive. So the feeling is this beautiful, smooth 1, 2 kind of feeling. Pull back, then push forward, almost like a wave. What I want you to do, give that a go for a little while, and then we'll add the hands. Give it a go. Excellent, good. So now let's move on and add the technique. The technique is taisho, right? So those who don't know, fingers come together like so, squeeze them up, thumb comes in, and bend the wrist. This is the part, this is the weapon we're hitting with. The thing that's important here is that most karate techniques have this rotation at the end. Agyuke, right, doink at the end, chokuzuki here, sotuke, right, shituke, they all have this rotation of the wrist at the end of the technique. Taisho doesn't. What it uses, in this rotation, what it does is it provides a little bit of kinesthetic feedback to here, to squeeze here, to drive off the back of the leg, to connect your body together. So you end up with the extremities, push, push, and the center squeezing together to give you that sort of, that grab that you want. Taisho, of course, doesn't have this, right? So what you use is you use the wrist snapping as the weapon, as that same, it has the same effect as that hard rotation of the wrist, snapping in. So when I'm here, what I'm going to do is as I release and as I push in, I'm going to release my arm from the hip, just allow it to relax and snap in. Here, as this drives at the kime point, at the striking point. Okay, so it's a timing issue. Make sure here, push, connect. Make sure, connect. Here, connect into the target. Allow it to come round and out. And again, circle with the hip. Use that rotation of the hip to slingshot the hand into the technique, into the person. The other thing that's really important is that final hand position. Don't make this here, where it's all scrunched up. Don't think that it has to be aligned directly with my body. If I'm here and I make natural uchuke position, this is the strongest position. If I make it in stance, right? So my natural uchuke position is here. If I make it with my feet in line, here. If I switch that to kibadachi, this is where it would sit. If I push uchuke back, notice I've lost all the strength in my upper body, in my chest, right? The muscles all stretched out, the technique's weak. It's only here where I can lock in using my pec and my back. So as you make this technique, so if I'm here, when I make taisho, it's the same thing. Keep that elbow position. That's going to push this slightly in front of your body, but it makes sense. If you pull back for aesthetics, nothing more, you've got no pushing forward. And what I encourage you to do is try pushing against a wall here versus pushing against a wall here and tell me which one feels more connected, right? So as you make this technique, don't worry so much about where the hand ends up, worry about where the elbow ends up. The elbow should end up in exactly your natural blocking position, whether it's soto or uchi, and just straight out. So as I make this, I block, I push, my elbow, if I switch stances, it's in my natural uchuke position. So allow that to be in place. This will then drive to where it needs to be. Does that make sense? If you're here and you're out, it's going to hit, it's going to torque your rotator cuff, right? You're not going to be able to handle the impact. So try it again with those differences on a heavy bag or, you know, a heavy bag, right? Try it on those kinds of places, okay, to be able to get that. So as you make this, feel 1, 2 all together. Then step out. So from here, practice it very discreetly, very modularly. 1, back, 2, in, 3, out. Right, this feeling. So what I would like you to do is give that a go. Try it 10, 20, 30, 100,000 times, and then come back to me. Excellent. Okay, now the next step is to start tying it together. Let it flow. So the feeling here is now go through each stage, but start to slur your words together. Right? Start to slur your words together a little bit more. So as you come in, feel here, absorb, push, and out. Right? Absorb, push, out. Absorb, push, out. Absorb, push, out. And again, as you go, absorb, push, out. Try flowing it together. Now, if you notice, my feet change depending on which one I move where and when. I'll tell you when that's appropriate. For now, try the basic step. 1, front leg, 2, 3. This. Here, here, 1, 2, 3. This feeling. Transfer of weight as you shift one to the other. Give it a go. Excellent. Okay, so the last piece is now you can adjust, depending on your opponent, if they're kind of not as aggressive or too aggressive, you can adjust where you move that foot in that second technique. And so as you come in, you make the first absorption. If they're way too close, guess what I do? I can shift back and drive my hip forward. If they're way too far away, I can shift in. If they're somewhere in the middle, I can shift to the side. You can alter the way in which this second piece happens. So it could be here, very, very short and shallow. If they're far away, 1, 2, 3. If they're somewhere really kind of wussy, where they overcome, absorb in here. Right? You can change how and where using the same principles, but you can adjust the way that the technique goes in terms of that distance driving back in. And when you think of that, that is no different to when you are here and you drive in, here you punch on the spot, here you shift to drive in, depending on what angle you need. Remember, when Jiyu Ippon's done, it's done with what's called a floating mai, a floating distance. That's the big differentiating factor, right? And so the person may be more aggressive. They may start and float in and out. And so you need the ability within all of these, if you notice that's been a big deal with all, and it's been an underlying theme, of being able to adjust your distance, your re-attacking distance, depending on where you need to be relative to your opponent to hit them harder. One question I often ask my guys is, well, why do you block in karate? If you ask a very good sensei like Alma Schmeiser, he says to make it because you made a mistake. If you ask me, I agree with him totally, but the other thing that's really kind of interesting is that you block to set yourself up to hit them better. And Jiyu Ippon Kumite allows you to do that. It teaches you the setup to be able to hit them better with a variety of techniques. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Practice that one, it's kind of fun. Practice all 4, and then we'll talk about the 5th one next time, and then we'll finish this out and move on to something else. Have an awesome day. Hey. Us. Thanks very much.